think he looked
He,
good?
he looks like, yeah, he doesn't look so good.
He wasn't in the ROC Wellness Challenge. I guess that's
Dude,
what it was.
Nick Nolte is in it.
Maybe he gained weight for a role. You don't know.
Dude, he's
Shit.
been heavy for a while.
Can't judge
He's
actors.
He didn't look too bad to me, like from that thing. I mean, we'll discuss it, like, but I don't know, Gary. What you mean? Like,
I don't want to sound
better-
judgy.
He looks better than he did in fucking Iron Man 3. Like, he looks super heavy in that. He actually looked like he lost weight.
When was the last time you saw him, Gary? Like chasing Amy or some shit?
Swingers. What happened in Swingers?
What's that movie where he owns a food truck or something? Is that one called? That's pretty good.
What?
Yeah.
Food truck.
Never heard.
He owns a Latin food truck.
Oh,
Kid you
word.
not. Yeah.
I don't know that one.
A Latin food truck. Wow.
He was also in The Breakup, I think, right?
Yeah, he was.
Couples retreat.
And that other movie with Keanu and the football team, right? The fake football team where they
The
were on
Replacements?
strike.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's it.
right.
That's a great movie.
It is a good movie, actually.
Yeah, the movie's called
underrated.
Chef, the one with the food truck. 2014.
I haven't seen any of these that you're talking about. Don't recall any of them. I guess if it's not a superhero flick, it's not.
You don't know.
Not on the itinerary. You know. Well, I'm not going out of my way, to see fat flicks. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just recommend them and you say they're good, I'll go out of my way and watch them. You recommend that chef film?
Hey, I liked it, but I cook, so I don't know. Up to you.
Man,
You gotta mean something to you then. It gotta mean something to you.
Yeah.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 67 of Breaking the Mold. I'm Harrick BX. Let's say what's up to the crew we got here tonight. And John Addict. What's up tonight, Pop?
What's up, man? Now I want a Cuban sandwich because that was like his specialty in the show. So I'm like, yo, I want a
and the
Cuban,
panini
bro.
press, the pickles, and the
Yep.
mustard, and the
You know who else is in that? Jose, John Leguizamo. I think it's his shoe
he's
chef
hilarious.
in the movie. And I forget that chick that all right. She's a Latin actress. She's very attractive. She's on that show that's been going on for years on Fox with Al Bundy's the actor. I forget his name's in it.
What's her name? I know who you're talking about.
Sofia Vergara.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's in that too. I think she plays his ex-wife or some shit in that.
She's Colombian.
Okay, I didn't.
Of course, Gary.
I just said
knows.
Latin, bro. I didn't say fucking anything else.
Gary knows her phone number.
The home address.
Hey, Google Earth can teach you a lot of stuff.
Yeah, what's her butt size, Gary? That's what you probably really know.
Hey, easy. Settle down.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's a family
I'm-
show.
I'm here. It's Tuesday. Happy to be with you guys. My weekend was nothing interesting. Did a lot of spring cleaning. You know what I'm saying? Like I borrowed a rug doctor from one of my buddies at work, and I've had it here for like weeks because it hasn't been good weather to fucking do anything. So
what do you feed a rug doctor?
I bought like this Bissell cleaner. So Bissell cleaner and
Oh,
hot
it's a
water.
machine.
It's a machine. Yeah, it's a machine. And I had to put it in the yard because obviously the rug's gonna get wet and seep through the wood floor, so I have to do it on the concrete. So that's what I did for the most part of Saturday. And then Sunday, just other odds and ends around the house. So nothing too interesting.
You have a wife, don't you?
Yeah, but come
So
on.
why are you cleaning the carpets? What's that about?
Exactly, dude, right? Exactly.
Because it's not 1955 anymore, Brian.
Hey,
Hey, Brian, I could take up the whole hour telling you why shit ain't getting done around here, but I'm not gonna do that.
Save that for verbally challenged. Oh, God.
There you
look.
go.
I know all about cleaning the carpets.
Oh man, that's fucking awesome. You brought up Cuban sandwich too. I had some pernil tonight, bro. That shit was fucking slamming. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Brian, have you had that lately? Yeah, I know you made one.
Oh, the pernil.
Yeah.
I did. I did make it a second time. That was it's still during the weight loss challenge, not the right time to do it. But you know what? And when it's cold, you get that crock pot out. You make yourself 5 pounds of meat, and it's just good shit.
That's right. That's right. Well,
Wait,
yeah,
5 pounds of what kind of meat?
Pork.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
pork shoulder.
Yeah.
Slamming. Oh, you hear that? Yeah, I don't feel bad at all, JD. It's fucking good.
It's good, man.
Mm-mm.
You can use it as a topping for anything.
All right, the analyzer, Brian Brink. How are you, man?
Yeah. Speaking of 5 pounds of meat, I just came from the toilet. You ever have one of them?
Oh, jeez, bro.
You ever have one of those where like your butthole is still dilated like 10 minutes later? You feel
Brian, what's his
that's
what's
how I
his
feel
name,
right
bro?
now.
What's his name?
yeah. That's how I feel right now.
That's a freaky bitch.
That turd messed me up, man.
That's pooping yourself inside out right there.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I also had a low-key weekend, and yeah, I didn't have the preparation of NJCC hanging over my head, so I was able to get some spring cleaning done as well. It's nice. Good weekend for that.
Nice.
Brian, you should, if it's so dilated, you should practice picking stuff up with your butt right now. Well, you can.
Look, man, no insertion, no insertion.
You can make some mad cash.
I think there's a YouTube channel for that.
Yikes.
What's that site? Night knows it.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding.
All right, G Money, what's up, dude?
Not too much. I feel like a broken record because it was a pretty calm weekend as well. And
Did you have to work?
I did. I worked on Saturday, and then Sunday the weather was actually pretty nice here. It's like 70 degrees. So
You only got like 1 inch of snow. It's great weather.
yeah, right. No, it wasn't windy and it was sunny. So I took the Jeep out for a little bit, and that's about it.
Nice.
And it's back to like 45 degrees and windy yesterday and today. So,
Yeah, I got caught off guard yesterday after work. Like it was like kind of humid in the morning. It was like 60, 65. So, you leave the house with the hoodie, you're good.
Yep.
And then after work, when I got out, it was like 40 something. I was fucking freezing when I fucking was going home. I was like, damn, it's no good. But 70-degree weather, that means most of that snow that you had up there is probably gone by now, right?
Yeah, there's a little tiny, like literally, like in my parking lot at work in the corner where the huge mountain was just this little remnant of stuff. You know what I mean? That like didn't even look like snow. It looked like, just, I don't know, like a pile of dirt. It's fine.
It's holding on. Well, I hope that's the end of the shitty weather.
I did kind of get sucked into one of those YouTube vortexes that Brian talks about, how you kind of end up looking at something. So I ended up finding this channel. I don't collect Funko Pops at all. I've never bought a Funko Pop. But there's this guy, he's got a shop in Brooklyn. And his videos are him like literally like unboxing boxes of Funko Pops and then stacking them like the ones he doesn't have like on this wall of pops behind him. And then I don't know, it's like addictive. It's like I've watched a bunch of those videos and it's like him, and I have to find the channel. He'll be like, oh, I'm going to look at this box I got from Hot Topic and this box I got from so-and-so and this collection I bought from this guy. And then he just literally digs like in the shipping box and pulls each one out. And he holds it in the camera and has a little display. He puts it there. And he's like, oh, I don't have this one. That's my collection. He puts it on the wall. And then like, if he's like, oh, I already got that one, I'm going to sell it in my store. But it's like anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes of that. And I don't know if it like lulls me to sleep. You know what I mean? It's like calming and peaceful or something. I don't know.
It would be satisfying if he burned them all at the end. Like, threw them all in the bucket.
I had no idea like how many licenses those things. I mean, you see them everywhere now, but I just had no idea how many licenses there are for it, Yeah.
I wonder how they get away with that. Like, first of all, the capital to like acquire so many licenses, and then like, they must be giving to have so many from it's Marvel, it's DC, it's all these different licenses that you wouldn't expect to see on a single property, So
I thought they just did like they just got permission and said, hey, here's your royalties up front.
Exactly.
And this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I feel that they didn't have to pay a buy a full out license like some of these other companies have. They just promise a percentage of profits. Yeah.
Okay.
Because somebody's going to buy them.
Yep.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
I just found it fascinating. It was I watched one and it turned into another and turned into like another just in the background. That's kind of funny.
Fell down that rabbit hole, the rabbit hole of YouTube videos.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
I
It's
thought
like,
he
there
was
goes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say there was like 90 minutes of life, you know. That's gone. Nothing.
I was just going to say that I thought maybe you got sucked into Brian's pucker time rabbit hole.
Probably fit a rabbit up there.
It's a quote unquote rabbit hole.
Oh, Brian. Don't be admitting that stuff. Not live on the air.
That was rough. And I was late for the show, so it's like I couldn't take my time. I just had to fucking force that shit out, man.
Gonna take your time, dude. If you, I'm not gonna fucking penalize you if you're gonna be a few minutes late. It's all good.
Well, yeah, I don't want Dave to be upset with me.
Fuck you, bro.
Dave does get angry.
Fuck you
Dave
both.
will get upset.
Fuck you both. I'm out of here. Fuck you guys.
I mean, I have Dom here to, take the brunt of it. So
Dave's the punching bag tonight. Get ready, Dave. Get ready. All right, JD, what's up, dude?
What's up, me bags?
yo.
How we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Are you?
Weird kind of day.
Oh, why? Why is it?
I just feel weird
Uh-oh.
internally.
Maybe you should go take a shit too.
Yeah, exactly.
I did. I went to work and took a nervous shit for
Ooh.
some
Oh,
stupid
nervous.
reason. I have no idea.
What's that mean? What's a nervous shit?
It's like, I don't know, kind of, when you feel panicky or whatever, but then you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to poop. I'm gonna have to poop. Please don't poop yourself.
Yeah.
Please don't poop your pants.
Oh, like one of those, like you had to go so bad you wasn't sure if you were gonna make it to the toilet.
No. It's something that anxiety brings on.
Yeah. Okay.
Did the pep talk help, JD? I've never tried that before.
I mean, I held it off for as long as I could.
Fair enough. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah. And finally, I was just like, okay, it's time. And I went and I took care of business.
Yeah. You ever have that sometimes where like you have to poop and then you just get distracted, like something comes up and you gotta take care, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
You forget. And then it's like 8 hours later and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna poop before. I forgot.
Sometimes you can let that shit like blow by, because even though it might feel like in the moment you're like, yo, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go. Sometimes, yeah, like that feeling might pass, but then there's other times it's like, no, you're fucking sweating, you got abdominal pain, you know what I'm saying? Like if you had appendicitis or something, you could barely walk 2 feet, you know what I'm saying? Because it hurts so much.
You're turtle heading, like you feel that shit coming in and now you're like, oh man, I gotta go, man.
Dave knows.
Oh, poop, go back in. Waddling your way there.
Dude.
But yeah, I go through that shit all the time. Like,
You gotta squeeze the cheeks and run to the bathroom, squeeze cheeks. Don't want to shit yourself.
Dude, it's true. It always happens to me. It's like when I'm on the way home, I'm like, I can make it home. And then like as soon as you open your door to get in your house, it's like all of a sudden it knows you're so close. I'm like, hey,
dude, you guys,
calm the fuck down. I gotta climb like 3 flights of stairs.
Gary looks confused. He's like, I never do this. My shit's scheduled at 5 p.m. every day. That's when it's coming out.
Dude,
I fucking my work
listen.
up.
when you eat and sleep on schedule, you guys are really overthinking this,
See,
man.
I
It's like
knew
it's a
it, bro.
non-issue.
I knew
It's a
it.
non-issue. Yeah,
You
it's a
fucking
non-issue.
schedule shit, bro.
It's non-issue.
I mean, I usually have a schedule, but sometimes like I'm running a little behind or something happens when I get to work and then I have to wait
Yeah.
till I'm done with
Mhm.
my appointment. And then I've been sitting there all day like, God, I got to shit. I got to shit. I'm sitting there. I'm like, no,
How do you
no wonder my work looks like shit half the time is like, and they don't end up with like fucking turds on them.
what you're thinking about when you're like,
How do you hold in the shit farts from your customers when you fucking?
Oh,
I mean,
you know you really got to shit and you just fucking farting all the time because something's got to come out.
like I think it's that point. We gotta take a stretch. I gotta get up. My back. Start shaking my hand like, yeah, my hand hurts. Yeah, I gotta take a break and I'll go outside and make.
Look at Gary's face.
But then you got to stay out there for like a minute because you know that shit lingers. Like leave it out there.
you gotta do a little dance to shake it out of your.
Yeah, you go into quick. That shit's gonna follow you in.
We had this guy at work.
He's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here right now.
We had this guy at work. He was an older gentleman. He had like crazy, like mad scientist hair and shit. And he would just eat a bunch of cheese and burritos and stuff. And this one time he stood up and let one go in his cube, and then he like started shaking his leg. And this girl
something rolled out.
All from the aisle from him was like, "Yeah, that's it. Shake it out. Shake it out."
What the fuck?
Oh my god!
And then this other lady, like further up the aisle, she ended up whenever he would fart, she ended up buying one of these like little desk toys, and it's like a fart alarm or whatever. And she would click the button, and it would like be really loud, and be like, alert, a fart has been detected.
Oh, God.
We just found out why Brian works from home so much.
Oh man, so funny.
There you
go.
I was having flashbacks to Pinkerton's basement last May.
Yo, and that was in people's sleep. It wasn't even like fucking they were awake.
So funny. That was so funny. Oh my god! I remember we were just cracking up for like 15 or 20 minutes straight. It was so funny.
You ever in a public stall and like all the guys are in there, like every stall's full, and like sometimes you try to like, try to not let a big one out, but sometimes this one guy let a big one out, big fart that is, and then the guy in the stall next to me, he was just like, woo. Yeah.
Thanks for breaking the ice. My turn.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be courteous. You gotta fucking let loose. But if there's other people in the stall, you're trying to let that shit out slow, so you're not getting that.
Yep. Oh.
Trying to be all discreet, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it doesn't work.
Release that beast.
Well, good news is, no matter what we talk about, it's all going uphill from here.
Oh, JD. All right. So you had a good weekend. Everything was good.
Yeah. We hit the dirt mall and
you guys got a bunch of toys.
Yeah. Found a bunch of mask figures and some other stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any of that hard to find mask? Like
Thunderhawk
with both bombs.
A what?
A Thunderhawk with both of those bombs.
No. I mean, I got the pilot. I didn't have the pilot. Matt Tracker. Actually, I found like 4 different versions of Matt Tracker. The guy had a bunch of them, which was pretty cool. And then I don't know what else did I get. Not that we're doing hauls, but Eddie said something about last night he said that he was like, I saw his post in the middle of the night that he had claimed something, and it was a G1 Snapdragon.
Snapdragon, wasn't it? I saw it too.
Yeah.
#claim.
Mm-hmm. The guy's really cool. But anyway, how you doing, Jose?
I'm good. I had a nice low key weekend like you guys. Didn't really do much. The weather was kind of shitty here in the Bronx. So we did initially have plans to kind of go to like a couple of local bars and celebrate the birthday, but also, celebrate for her. She Jesse recently passed like a language interpreter's course for work. Completed like a 40-hour course or something, took a test, passed. So she plans to kind of like go further in that. So we were just gonna like go out and celebrate, but then the weather was kind of crappy. We wound up just getting a bottle and just chilling at home.
What language? Like Klingon or
Spanish language interpreter. Like you would think, like she speaks it, but what you interpret in the hospital is like different than kind of like the slang.
That makes sense.
Like at home and stuff like that. So it's kind of like making sure you know the correct terminology and making sure you address people like the right way. It was when she buckles down, dude. Like she's better than I could ever be when it comes to shit like that, because she'll study for hours. She'll fucking make notes and little cards and write shit down and basically the way what you're supposed to do if you're trying to study and pass.
Dude, flashcards are fucking awesome.
And me, I'm like, oh my God, that shit's a lot of work. It takes so much time. But she buckles down. She did it. So we were going to celebrate, but we wanted to just stay at home and just kind of celebrating at home, which was nice. And I had to report back to jury duty today, which was actually a good thing because I'm basically getting paid from work. And it was basically a half day. Started at 2 p.m. today till 4:30. Tomorrow is probably going to be something similar, 2 to 4:30. So not bad to get paid a whole day's pay for 2 hours.
So you've been picked then, and you're like sitting on there listening to shit and whatnot.
Yeah. Today was the first day. Yeah, I got picked last Wednesday, went back to work Thursday, Friday, and yesterday, and then sat down for the first day of the trial today. So I'll probably be on that until like next Tuesday.
I just recently got something in the mail a couple of weeks ago. It was, usually they'll say you've been summoned, and then you give a call the night before to see if you're still on, and then they bring you in, and then you sit there and you wait for them to call you, right? But this time it was like an online thing, or it's like fill out these questions ahead of time, and I guess it saves you from going there, and so that I don't have to. I don't know. Maybe it saves time in the what do they call it, the voir dire process or whatever. I don't know. I forget. Well, however Joe Pesci says it in My Cousin Vinny. I can't remember how you say that term, but anyway.
Yeah, I know they send out usually like a little generic questionnaire that you have to kind of answer and send back. But they make you, when you have to go, they make you just sit in the room. You have to wait. And then the lawyers, you'll get called up randomly. They'll you sit with some lawyers. They'll ask you some questions, and if they feel they want you on the jury, they'll select you. I got dismissed from the first jury pool I was in, so I had to kind of go back to that big room and wait, which is whatever, a little boring. But with the phones and tablet, everything you got with you, it's like you're getting paid to watch a movie or something. And then I got picked for sure, like in that second jury selection. So it's cool. A lot of people here don't like to do it, as I get it, it's a disruption on life or whatever. But the shit that I do at work, I'm fucking so busy that I'd be like, you know what? It's a break for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I just gotta sit in that room and listen. You know what I'm saying? And I get paid my full salary as opposed to fucking being in my office all day doing the shit I gotta fucking do and deal with. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, it's like a break for me. So I don't mind doing it. And it is kind of a rewarding experience, at the end of everything. If you do get selected, you get to hear and take part in a trial. It's definitely an experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody's ever done it. It's pretty interesting. So,
and you guys say that I'm the salesman of the group, and Jose's trying to sell us on.
Bro, he's not selling me on jury duty. I'm still gonna change my address every time they send me those fucking letters. So it's all right.
or just open up with some racial jokes right from the beginning.
Yeah. See, that's the thing though, is that people think if you try to say, talk shit to the lawyers to try to get out getting picked, they're still going to make you go to that big room and wait. So you're going to be wasting 3-4 days of your time anyway before they dismiss you. And I guess that they consider that time served, I guess. So, whatever. For me, it's like a break from work, so I don't mind it. And all right. So over the past weekend, I believe, was it in Chicago? Star Wars Celebration took
Yeah.
place. Big Star Wars convention, a lot of news coming out of it. We got some trailers coming out of the weekend. I think everybody here on the panel are big Star Wars fans. I think Gary, feels a certain way about one of those trailers, so I definitely want to get into that and get into his head, ask him some questions. But let's run it down the line. I know we got an episode 9 trailer. There was a trailer for the new season of Clone Wars, the animated series, and we got a sneak peek also at the Mandalorian series, which I believe is going to be a television show that's going to be debuting on Disney's new streaming service. And that was another thing coming out of the weekend, the Disney streaming service. We actually got a price. JD, I know you were keeping up with a lot of the news over the weekend. Did they announce a launch date for that streaming service?
I want to say it was I know the Mandalorian is either November or October or November of this year. I don't remember. So I would imagine it's somewhere around that.
Okay, cool. Nice. So we don't really have to wait too much longer for that. We know that's coming down the pipe and stuff. I'm really liking what I heard. Is it true? The price is going to be $6.99 a month for that streaming service?
Yeah,
I believe you are correct.
That's pretty dope. I wonder if they'll let you do like
Dave, you can make more noise if you want.
I know, Dave. Seriously,
Dude, I thought I put on mute. I'm sorry. You should have said something before.
I thought he would hear himself though.
Gosh.
Headphones, but did they what the fuck? See,
You hear this?
track of my
So Vinny and Josh said November 12th.
November
$6.
12th. Oh, nice. I know, like would they give you like a discounted option, like if you like pay all up front, like a yearly option?
I'd imagine they'd do that.
That'd be pretty cool if they just charge like $70 or something like that.
Yeah.
You got kind of like 2 months free. I think DC did something similar because their streaming service doesn't cost too much either. But the content, depending on what it is, like I like a lot of the stuff they have on their streaming service, but I know for me, I owned a lot of it on disc already, so it wasn't like a big deal. Like it is nice to, the convenience of just streaming, which is why I still went in on it. But I feel like they could use some work like in the content. But this Disney streaming service is supposed to have like the Disney movies, right? Like not just like the Marvel stuff. It's like supposed to be like their entire catalog. Am I right? Or
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the properties that they own.
Mhm.
So maybe some of that stuff we saw like back in the day on the XD channel, things like that. I think someone in the chat yesterday mentioned Gargoyles, perhaps.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I remember.
A new one or the old one?
The old one.
Oh,
The
okay.
original. Yep. And dude, I think the price is. They timed this thing great. They had a great weekend. Disney did. They dropped this fucking streaming service, which made their stock go up like 11% or some shit like that. And at the same time, they're dropping the trailer and having celebration. And at the same time, Netflix announces they're raising their prices.
right?
Mhm.
That's true, Brian.
Was it you guys talking about that last night? Because it's true. Like I remember logging in and I got that notice here. Your Netflix is raising to $16 a month. And so I did hear that the Netflix stock took quite a hit, and the Disney stock went up. Based off the news coming out of the weekend. So, interesting. I've been thinking about just cutting Netflix because I barely watch it. It is just for the convenience of just, if you want to scroll through, watch something, it's there. Like,
So
whatever.
that Jessica Jones is over, right?
Yeah, I'm out. Fucking out. You know what I'm saying? But then again, it's like you think back, okay, $16 a month, in a fucking weekend, I'll just spend $100 on drinks that don't mean anything next day. So it's like, why not have it? That's the thing, to kind of thoughts I try to wrestle with, and why I justify keeping shit like that and Hulu, besides having a cinema app and fucking Kodi and all these other various ways to access this stuff.
I'll keep Netflix. They have some good shit on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like some of their series also. That I end up liking that come on there.
Well, I love a good amount of content too. Like sometimes it is just nice just to have something that, lots of things that you could just scroll through and watch and, at any given time. Hulu is kind of similar. You got to kind of dig for stuff, but they got stuff on there that I'm like, oh shit, like they have this, like, but you have to dig for it. Where I feel like Netflix is a little bit easier to find things. Hopefully, this Disney streaming service has, similar amounts of content. Where I mean, for $7 a month, can you really complain? But hopefully they have a good amount of content to make it comparable to what you get with maybe like a Netflix or Hulu, and and maybe if they do, it might make some people reconsider some of those other subscriptions, because I know I'm kind of reconsidering some of those other ones just to save some dough. But some of the trailers, episode 9, we got a teaser finally. They didn't really show much, in my opinion, and I think Gary, you mentioned it off air. I know you didn't really get too excited about anything that you saw coming out of the trailer. Did anybody else get the hype from that, seeing that from this past weekend?
There's a lot in it, I think.
How you feel about it, JD?
Well, I'm excited. I don't know. I guess bringing J.J. Abrams back in the way he's trying to fix it kind of restores hope for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny, JD, that you say that, because my YouTube rabbit hole from previous months has started to wake back up again, and it's all these people saying, all these people who are just ragging on Last Jedi and Rian Johnson and stuff are now like, it's gonna be fixed and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, half the trailer was Rey standing in the desert. I mean,
exactly.
I was gonna ask, like, is there any indication? I mean, again, we saw. I mean, JD, you said you felt like you kind of saw a lot. You know what I'm saying? But Brian, to your point, yeah, they felt like the first minute was just Rey standing there, and then eventually avoiding that speeder. Do you feel like you saw anything that might look like it might erase what we saw from this last film, just through this teaser? Anything that gives you that indication, JD or anybody else?
I know it takes place much, like,
later.
It's at least a few years after the last movie, so I don't think he's even really going to address it. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess there were some key moments, right? Obviously, there was the some nostalgic things with the medal from the ceremony from New Hope. Rey embracing Leia. Obviously, we got the a scene of the messed up Death Star, and of course, we heard Palpatine's voice and Lando, right? So that might be enough to get people back on board, right? For those who are kind of off the train, you know what I mean? There's a lot that people can speculate and hope and dream about, I guess, of what could happen.
Is it confirmed that this movie is going to take place like years after this last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also too is the title, right? It mentions Skywalker in the title, so that's probably got people like clearly on the speculation game, right? Because they thought, Luke, he let himself go, and so people are just kind of like, where does it go from here? But with that title, it's kind of gives people a new hope, so to speak, on seeing their hero again, all that stuff. Maybe
you don't think that title kind of refers to Rey? Like, isn't she kind of like half a Skywalker, right?
Nope. Choo, get on that speculation train, Jose.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Leia's. Well, because we don't know who her parents are. That's right.
Who knows?
They were nobody.
That's right. They were nobody. They were nobody, according to what Kylo said in the last movie. So, which again, I don't mind, because whatever. Like, if you want to throw a swerve or whatever, which I'm sure this movie, again, the way people are saying they're gonna fix that last one, I don't feel like the last one he's fixing. Like, I don't care. I'm not so invested into it where I'm just like, oh, this movie was a fuck up or whatever. But but I definitely see where they deviated from what they were presenting in The Force Awakens as far as Rey's story and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was kind of just a nice wrench to throw in there, that you think she's gonna be have this big lineage or whatever, and oh no, maybe she is a nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like like, why does she have to be somebody to what I'm saying? Like, she could be the first her of whatever she is, whatever her family is, what I'm saying? Like, Rise of the Skywalker, though, since we don't, like, I feel like like, I don't know, like, is it, and again, you know, I saw those Star Wars movies, they were already out, so there was like no waiting when we were kids, you know what I'm saying? Like we were young, they were kind of all out there. But you know, the reveal of Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father in The Empire Strikes Back, you know, like something like I think back to that, and it's something that you've seen these movies over and over. It seems like that's such almost like an obvious thing like now, and I'm almost feeling that like with Rey's character, like it's almost like going to be obviously revealed that she's related to either Luke or Leia, like in some way. Like, do you guys feel that it's going to eventually be?
They can go that way, but I don't think they have to. And I think people are speculating because it says Rise of Skywalker. It could mean had nothing to do with Rey, period.
Right.
You know, or you know, like what's the new story, right? Like Palpatine basically created Anakin, right? Like that's something that's out there right now.
Yeah, is
Am I
that
right?
canon? I can't remember now.
I don't know, but it's out there, and if that's the case, then essentially that who's his father, you know what I mean? That could be taken as, you know, fucking the first Skywalker, you know, was Anakin.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm coming
Right.
way out of left field. Why did they throw his laugh in there?
right? So what? Nothing's truly gone, right? They said some shit like that, and you hear him laughing at the end. And what was that ship that was crashed?
That was the Death Star.
That was a Death Star, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't die. You know what I mean? Something that
maybe he was
powerful.
Yeah, was he on the Death Star when it exploded and crashed down? It's crazy. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, he was on his way to the core of that thing.
Yeah, maybe he like
Turning into
clutched the
oblivion.
wall or something.
Who knows? I mean, fucking Darth Maul lived, right? They fucking found him. He found his fucking prosthetic legs and kept it moving, right?
Yeah.
So who says
So
that
this is-
the Empire, that Palpatine's isn't dead? You know?
So
That
as far
dude was an old fuck though, like back then, and this is supposed to be like 35 to 40 years later, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like real time. Well, you know, I guess if he's the dark side, you know, I guess what's that keep you? Does that let you live longer? Is that something? Is that one of those force powers? If you're a Sith or a Jedi,
Who
you know
knows?
what I'm saying?
Well, I
mean-
believe some of the Sith used to live longer than normal people did. And
Yeah,
I know,
like, that's what I mean.
Plagueis did, right? Like Plagueis outlived people.
See, like this is the thing, though.
But-
This is kind
so
of like
here's
my little gripe when it comes to these things. Like Dave, you mentioned about new canon, about you know the Emperor creating Anakin or whatever. Like that's something that you have to get from a comic book. Like if it's something you're not getting in these films, how is any random fucking moviegoer, even if you are a Star Wars fan, how are you supposed to know that?
You're
If you-
not, but that's just it. You're not. Like
So-
we didn't know what we were getting with the last movie, with The Last Jedi, right? And everybody says, "Oh, they deterred from the story. They took it somewhere else. They want." And you know what I got from this new trailer is what I got from The Last Jedi. They don't want you guys to fucking think that these are the same 3 movies that you grew up watching. It's
Mhm.
not the same. It's something new.
Yep.
You know, I think you hear Luke's voice, right? It's your time. You know, it's telling Rey like this is your time to fucking to blow up, basically. And it says on there, I don't quote me. Every generation has its legend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every generation has its legend, right? When Luke and Leia and Han are old news. Like that's what they're trying to get at. Like Rey and Kylo and Finn.
Why is
This
it
is-
called The Rise of Skywalker?
Exactly, like you know, but and
Weird.
even though in the trailer, like it does say end of a saga, so I do think that this movie is gonna bring some finality to these
Mhm.
characters, like in general. But it's true. When you hear Rise of the Skywalker, like Rey's been the main character, like in these films, like you know, and so that I feel like that has to refer to her in some way, because if it doesn't, then it's like, why was she the focal point of all these films? Like,
You know, I think I know what it is, Dave. If you
Mhm.
think back to your Otter fandom and the Order of the Phoenix, Dumbledore's army, she's going to make Skywalker's army. That's how it's going to be.
It
You know,
could be.
Now
Yeah,
them
they're
using
light wands and shit.
the Skywalker name in the title just refers to the family. It's
more
always about that family. This is all like the first 6 films are about Anakin, Darth Vader. So like,
Never go
Mhm.
against the family.
but I want to back up and I want to throw something out of left field.
Do it.
So David said about, well, let me back up here and try and remember. So you'd said, oh, well, we don't know who her family is, blah, 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 blah. No, that wasn't it. Hold on. I'm getting there. Bear with me. So the Emperor laughs.
Mm.
They show the title. Anakin talking with Palpatine about Plagueis in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is all tying together.
Ooh.
He knew he even knew how to stop people from dying. He could create life.
Mm-hmm.
So what if again, this is out of left field.
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead. I'm gonna fucking throw something out after you.
The Emperor laughs because he's daddy. He made all this happen.
Right. No, that's exactly what I was thinking. But what if he made Rey too?
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like through the same fucking genome that he fucking made Anakin through, because there is fucking speculation that she's a clone of fucking Anakin, right? If she's not fucking directly related to fucking Luke.
Someone mentioned in the group that she could have been cloned from Luke's hand. Like that was something people talked about a while back, like a long time ago. I was like, damn, I never thought of that. I think it was Tentacles brought that up. That's crazy.
So Rise of Skywalker, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be Luke Skywalker. It could be any Skywalker for that matter. You know?
But what part do you think Palpatine is gonna play? Okay, we heard the laugh. If he's alive and he survived the last, Return of the Jedi, like, what was he behind the First Order? Like, is he the one really running shit through guys like Snoke and whoever else is fucking running? Like, that's the thing. Like, is that like just a magical MacGuffin you could bring out like at this end and be like, he was doing this, he was pulling these strings? But what have we seen that's like, oh shit, he was behind this, he was behind this? Because there was such a big gap between episode 6 and 7, and we've just seen, I feel like from what we've seen, and I'm not counting any of the expanded materials, the comics, the novels that flesh all this shit out, because you don't really get it in the films. I feel like we haven't seen enough of like the political situation and the world and what's going on outside of this battle between the rebels and the Empire that seems, from what we've seen, just seems to be so small scale, like almost in a way, like, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, like he's pulling the strings, he's behind like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what big reveal can we get that it'll be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, he lived and he's responsible for this.
Well, he was responsible for everything from the get-go. He was responsible for everything from the Phantom Menace on. We didn't know until, the second or third movie. I mean, everybody had known, but the good guys in the movie didn't know who the fuck was doing it until the end. Mm-hmm. They didn't know that he was fucking running both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? And he was. So for all we know, he could have been doing this from where he is, half dead somewhere, planning his next fucking uprise. Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like we need to get like more of what's going on like in the galaxy. Like our planet suppressed? Is like what's the first, what is it?
Exactly.
The first order? Like what are they doing to these planets that's making it like, because like when we got a glimpse of like that gambling planet that Finn and what's her name went to, Rose, like that, it seemed like a high society and everybody was rich and it didn't seem like there was any problems there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get it. The society was affluent, so they're kind of just like whatever. Those are the people that supplied the weapons of war and whatever. But I just feel like we need to kind of see like what's going on to know like the level of what the First Order is doing to like the galaxy. If they're saying it, then I'm not feeling it. Like,
and you're right, Jose. That's one thing that's like when Last Jedi ended, I was like, wow. I mean, we don't even need a third one. To me, I was like, so this is all wrapped up as far as I was concerned. And and you're right. Like, what is the story now? Like, what where are these people going and what do they need to fix? You know, it's like we don't even know.
I mean, you kind of get some of those glimpses of how powerful they are and how deep their arm goes. Basically, like you see it on Jakku in the beginning. You know, you had dude ratting fucking Ray out because they were looking for the droid, right? So you knew they were able to get there. Everybody was afraid of the First Order there. They're still talking about the stories of Luke Skywalker and the Empire. So they're going through the same shit that people were going through back then.
Yep.
You see it, you know, Jose mentioned on, you know, and you see the rich people on the casino, but you also saw the slave kids going through the bullshit that they were going through. Rose talking about the ordeal with her sister, and all that fucking shit. So you don't really see it because they're not showing it, but you kind of get an idea that it's still fucked up out there. And the First Order still running shit and got everybody scared.
Yeah. But I mean, they're also, you know, saying, you know, basically the war machine. I mean, there's bad people on both sides, and I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know. To me, I don't think people need to be scared of the First Order. Fucking Laura Dern showed everybody how to take care of those fuckers. You just fucking do a suicide run on them. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah, it's just like from what the last movie showed, which was the rebels like on their last legs basically, and the First Order is apparently, from what it looks like, is a presence that has the fucking galaxy locked down. You know what I'm saying? All these different planets and systems locked down through oppression or whatever the hell they're doing. However they're running that galaxy, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, how can, again, rebellions are built on hope and whatnot.
Yeah.
But now it seems like they're on their last legs. Like, what could they possibly do? Like, even if you take out the Emperor, let's say, kind of like you know, Return of the Jedi, that doesn't solve, you know, you still got the rest of the First Order out there.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but I mean, you saw the end of Last Jedi, right? It was like, dude, that stand on Crate, stand on Crate, man,
firing hope.
That's some lore that just happened right there. I mean, people, I mean, it's like fucking Jesus happening, you know, it's giving people hope. You know, you don't got to be under these people's thumb anymore. And that was a serious blow that they got dealt. I mean, 2 movies in a fucking row, man. They had their planet with the big ass gun get blown up by a ragtag, and then you got their giant ass ship that's the size of a planet get blown up. I mean, and then a ghost fucking beats the biggest badass in the land. I mean, it's awesome. I mean,
yeah. Do you think they'll still play up? And they probably won't. But like I felt like a certain theme coming out of like the Last Jedi, like especially with Kylo's supposed revelation to Rey that she's a nobody. Parents were nobodies, but she still seems to have this kind of destiny in front of her. We saw the kids, like those slave kids on that planet. And then at the very end, like you saw, like one of them exhibited like force powers. So do you think that might be a new theme that they might be trying to introduce? That it's like, you don't have to be part of this whole big grand lineage. You don't have to be Skywalker to be special or to you know, have a path and be on your own destiny.
Right. You don't have to subscribe to this dark or the light, you know?
Yeah. And like you said, you know what I'm saying? Like that battle, that story, the lore, the rebellion, you know what I'm saying? Holding on. If that's a tale that's the galaxy knows now and it inspires hope. Now, you know, you just have these people that are force sensitive out there. You know, again, it doesn't have to be anything grand. It's just, you know,
I mean,
up there inspired.
I think they're going to take from both sides, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what Luke was kind of getting at in the last movie was like, you know, the Jedi didn't do everything right. And that, you know, he wasn't feeling the movement that they were making anymore after learning everything he could. He basically learned that you got to kind of stay like in like a neutral zone, so to speak, you know, not so much, you know, side with one or the other. And I think that's a direction that this is going to go in. That's just me. Yeah.
And as far as Rey, I mean, if she's still trying to find her place in all this, she hasn't found it yet, I don't think. So that's going to be interesting to see. I really hope they flesh her out. I mean, then there's a chance we won't see her again, right? So I really hope they kind of complete that arc for her. Because I do like that character.
Do you think, like, the way they said it, like every chapter has an end or whatever, do you think like after this one, we are not going to see these characters again. Like they won't just continue with Finn, Ray, and
Hope
like
not.
now this whole new crew.
not.
You might just get somebody brand new, like a
I don't
whole
know.
new cast crew. Like I don't know, because I feel like if you're investing the three movies into these characters, and you're going to keep producing Star Wars films like every couple of years, like why would you just be done with them? Like it's basically
There's
like
so
every
much more.
trilogy. Every trilogy is just going to be something new.
There's so much
Main
more than
saga.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The actors are at a fair age that if they wanted to do something, 5-6 years down the line, they could just pick up and start whatever they wanted. So
Hey,
the younger ones, I mean, like that's what I mean, like the new blood, like Finn and Ray. Like I forget about the original trilogy cast. Like they're done. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like they could continue with these characters. Like that might be the plan.
But just because they could, should they? No.
So now, Gary, I
I
want
don't
to
think
hear
so
from
at
you,
all.
'cause I know you said that you watched this trailer and you felt like nothing. So, like, explain that a little bit. Like, what's going on with you and your view of this franchise?
So I really, I'm not trying to harp on old stuff. I've shared. I didn't like Last Jedi. I really didn't. I found that I like these characters less and less, and I don't have like any connection to them, and in turn, I think it's really kind of just diminished the nostalgic feeling. Like I'm dead inside in relation to this series. Like I'm not excited about it. Like some of the other stuff we might talk about was far more interesting to me. But like the trailer, the Emperor piece, I'm like, was he that good? Was he that cool? Like at that point in time, like in Return of the Jedi, it's he was an ugly old man. You know what I mean? We joke about his action figure coming out, right? And the way he looks, in his robe, sitting in the chair and stuff, right? It's just not that interesting to me. So, I don't know. I don't have
I gotta ask you a question though, Gary. What would interest you? Like the fucking they find out that Darth Vader's still alive and Han Solo's still alive and everybody, all these other people are still fighting together in this fucking war.
No.
You just mentioned like the nostalgia is not getting you, right? But you're talking about a movie that came out in 1977, and then the last one of that one coming out in 1983, and then 16 years later is when they rekindled it in 1999, and they decided to come out with The Phantom Menace, where we all felt, I mean, at least me, I liked parts of The Phantom Menace, but I hated parts of it, but it grew on me. So I think that these movies are going to grow on us too. It's just not ready for that story yet. I think that's what it is.
See, I don't think it is, because when those prequels came out, I found the idea of the clones and that concept fascinating. Like the idea that there's a secret army that was like grown versus the alternative army being built of mechanical droids, right? And then just a little bit of the idea of clones. Do they have rights? Are they the same as droids? Are they property? Are they individuals? I thought there was so much interesting stuff, which the Clone Wars, right? The series really got me excited more so than the movies. I feel like they're trying so hard to have some big reveal or some connections for stuff. And JD, you just said it. There's so much more going on in this so much more going on than this one family and these one special people. It's like, give me a break. You're not that special. If the galaxy is that big, I mean, really, you know what I mean? You're not. And I don't find the characters likable. I don't find myself like, I can't stand them. Like I couldn't stand them in the Last Jedi. I have zero excitement to see them, to do more.
One of the things that I was thinking about recently was, growing up and learning about the Jedi in the first trilogy, you learn about their lore. You only get a taste of what they got, right? Then the prequels, they give you, and the Clone Wars and all that other supporting material, they give you like, whoa, right? Fucking Jedi. And then here we are with Luke, our hero from the past, being like, and all that shit that you admired fucking sucks. So they're terrible. And and that kind of hurts a little bit. Like, how episode 6 was Return of the Jedi? Like, what if this one was like the Jedi Return or something like that? Like they fix them and they bring them back, and they got those people that you can admire again. That would have been really cool. Dave, I got a question for you. So that image of the Death Star, right? The last one that we knew of that blew up and fell. Where would it have crash landed on?
You thinking Endor maybe?
Yeah,
It was right there. Yeah.
and what's on Endor?
My Ewoks are dead.
There you go.
Yeah. Or maybe he survived and he put his soul into the fucking Ewok, and it's an Ewok Sith waiting for everybody in the fucking back, and then you guys will all be like, you know what, Dave, you were right this whole time.
Yeah.
Ewoks are the shit. Nah, but
Evil murder bears.
You think, imagine they do that shit, like just to be like, hey, fucking people thought the Ewoks weren't cool, and they'll turn them into like you said, the fucking evil murder bears.
see,
Ewoks or something like that, you know.
But to get back on, right, like I listened to what Gary had to say and stuff like that, but like I don't know, the way I see things, I just see it as like, forget about the old story that you know. And you're right, there is so much out there, right? But we're getting it. We're getting more Clone Wars stuff. We're getting The Mandalorian. I'm sure we're getting a whole new set of fucking movies with a different story. But this story is the one that ties in these fucking actors that everybody holds so dear, where we already, unfortunately we lost one, she's gone.
Yeah.
And, they killed off Han in the first one already, they just knocked them out. These people weren't going to carry the movies anymore, so they had to kind of tie the story in somehow. And what other way to do it than the Skywalker story? You had to do it that way. I mean, I can't see another way of doing it. Maybe they didn't do it perfectly, but them closing their story to open, more galaxies for us, I think is what we're getting. Because, this is just, they even said it, the end of a legacy, end of a saga, right? So This is it. So hopefully it will be the end of these guys that you don't care for or whatever, but it'll also be the end of that arc, the Skywalker arc, you know?
So you think you can see this, all right, like being the end of Rey, Finn's story, and then if they do an episode 10, it's gonna be like just brand new.
There won't be any episode.
It won't.
Right.
Or they're just gonna end the episode numbers, and now it'll just be kind of like side stories, and
it'll be a Star Wars story, or
it'll
have its own. You know what I mean? It'll have its own.
So like no more episode
Mandalorian, or
I think they're gonna keep bringing it back. They're not gonna keep bringing it forward, for a while. I would think, they're just gonna keep bringing back, like maybe the Knights of the Republic type of stuff.
See, but then they can never really truly move on then, right? If they're gonna tell these stories and go to different points in time, like the Clone Wars era, or like what Rogue One did before episodes 3, in between episodes 3 and 4, right before episode 4, like then you're never really letting go of the past and that nostalgia that you're used to. It's almost like relying on nostalgia in order to keep selling these films. Now, isn't that eventually going to be a problem? Like supposedly Rian Johnson, right? He's supposed to be getting a brand new, like his own trilogies. Like, so he's gonna tell his own story, a brand new tale. Like, so wouldn't you think that's the way to go rather than just to keep telling stories in the period we all love, admittingly, but then you can never move on from that?
It's that, and it just doesn't feel like anything different. And that's the thing, Dave. I'm not worried about the nostalgia or like harping on that it's not as good as that. I mean, so like that trailer we were talking about for The Mandalorian just looked and felt different than what this does. This just feels like the same stuff to me over and over again.
I get that part of it, but I just think it all has to kind of fit with each other to make some sense.
Yeah, and I mean that Mandalorian trailer, maybe we could get into a little bit also. Like that looked the best thing. That looked the best out of everything that I saw coming out of the weekend. As far as like the trailers, looks very interesting.
I mean, like I love the Millennium Falcon as much as the next fan, right? It being a cool iconic ship, but it's like, okay, how many times do we have to see it? You know what I mean? Like, just how many more times? And let's just see something different. How many times do we have to see a TIE fighter or some other configuration of a TIE fighter? That like is the same. That's all.
Well, how many years? How many years are we going on? Like an F14, F16? Like those planes are relevant for the last 20 years? Like right or more. So I could see these TIE fighters and all the weaponry staying the same for a while.
How many of the same Dodge darts or whatever? How many of those you need?
Listen, every Fast and Furious movie, they build brand new show cars.
It's not. It's the same. It is the same.
They build new
stuff. Is, Fast and Furious is trying to sell these fucking cars. That's how they get their fucking money. Star Wars, we ain't trying to sell a TIE fighter. Them shits ain't gonna be out for another fucking 100 years. So
we're just trying to sell more 6-inch figures on a different piece of cardboard than we sold 6 months ago, right?
Hey,
we're all suckers.
We still have the mold. Keep making them.
Well, I think Gary. Then I think this Mandalorian series, just based off that trailer, then might be something that's more up your alley. Because I mean, from what they were saying, it seems like it takes place. I think they said 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So it's a period that so far, I guess, in films or television, they've never really tackled. Everything kind of did look new, and it did seem like the people behind the production of it did say that it's an opportunity to explore new alien races, new locations, new vehicles. So maybe that's something, like I said, it's going to be more of what you're looking for instead of being like the same old that we're seeing in these films, like so far.
Well, I look at it like this. So, like I don't know, I'm kind of comparing apples to maybe strawberries, but a series I used to really like when it was around was the X-Files, right? And the X-Files had like 3 ongoing, like series long story arcs that sometimes overlapped and sometimes interwoven. And then you had the quote unquote monster of the week type episodes also, right? Where you could kind of just watch and see a one-off story and see the characters you like, in a different setting. And I think that's what was just appealing about that trailer to me versus like episode 9 was just, I don't need to see the same family arc back and forth and the same people whining and the same people, having the same conversations again when there's so many other things happening that, would just be kind of unique and different.
Yeah, I agree, Gary. I think for this latest trilogy, I wish that they had just not, they had just referred to the old characters and not brought them back. I don't think there's really any need. But can't do that now.
It wouldn't be part of the saga then.
Yeah. And do you think they were doing it? And this is just a theory that I have.
JD, why? I mean, just let the other saga die. Kill it if you have to.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe they were using the old characters like Leia, Han, Chewie, bringing back the Falcon. Like, I feel like as a way to maybe give these new characters the rub. So maybe if after episode 9 they do continue with the numbering, episode 10, 11, 12, and so on, if they're going to continue with Rey and maybe these newer characters, they kind of use these older characters as a way to give these new guys the rub, like their stamp of approval. Like this is the new generation, so love them because this is what we're giving you.
It won't happen. Actually, I think there was something, if I remember correctly, there was something that they had to sign something in order for them to be able to purchase it. They couldn't go past this. And I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but I think that this is going to be it for the saga. That's it.
Yeah. And there's also
not using any of these people anymore.
Yeah. Didn't the president, was it Iger or whomever? He said that the movies are going on a little break, I think is what they said.
Yeah,
the Star Wars movies. So I don't know what that means.
So that yearly Star Wars movie plan that they had, is out the window because I know it was going to be saga and a side story, saga and a side story. So that's
it. Kills me.
We have the last
side stories.
Yeah, we have the Last Jedi, I think, for that.
You sure it's not Solo? After the Solo
did fine. It didn't tank.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, do it.
But so
it did just fine, and a lot of people you talk to are like, "Yeah, it was good."
Well, it did fine if the fucking budget wasn't fucking $800 million because they shot it twice, right?
Yeah.
So it couldn't have done fine because they spent fucking way too much money on the production.
So like Nick said, they already have 2 other trilogies in production. Ryan Johnson has his own trilogy. The guys that are doing Game of Thrones, they have their own.
Yep.
It's going on. So
Chat winging him and saying someone got hurt by the Last Jedi, but like I think that's subjective. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
speculation of it.
yeah. I mean,
going on.
I don't know. I get it, like, because what was it, like maybe 5 or 6 months? Like, so maybe the releases were too close, but I'm like, I don't know if he means maybe that they were released too close together, or maybe people weren't happy creatively with the Last Jedi, so they shat on Solo. Like, I don't know.
Well, also too, wasn't Solo competing with like Black Panther still and Infinity War and stuff at the time? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Infinity War, Deadpool, and Solo all came out within like a week of each other.
Yeah, it's nuts. But
Solo had no chance, huh? Big time franchise had no chance, huh?
Maybe the story wasn't that good.
I think the horror stories also might have played a factor. Like, I think that does like play a factor. Like, sometimes if you're the type that kind of is clued in and you hear about all these production issues that are happening before the film, might affect people's view, like going into that movie being like, like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. Like, I was hearing they had to get this dude an acting coach or whatever. Like, that means he can't act. This is going to be shit. Like, I enjoyed the movie, but I mean,
who needed an acting coach? The guy who played Solo?
Yeah, supposedly.
I heard this was a while back, but I heard that the actress who played Rey, Daisy, I heard she had some issues on Force Awakens, like because she was supposed to be doing an American accent and stuff like that, and just wasn't working. So they're like, you know, just be more natural with it and stuff. I heard that somewhere.
I mean, I think it's almost like an oxymoron, you know, like acting coach, you know, Star Wars film, you know, but that's what I heard. So like, and so you hear about those issues, you hear, you know, whoever the original director was, they had to throw it all out, brought somebody back in, reshot the film, basically. Like, so when you hear shit like that, it might affect people's view of the film and be like, I'm not going to go see that, or I'll wait for the Blu-ray, I'll wait for Netflix or whatever. You know, maybe that does play a factor. And besides the competition, there was a lot of competition in the theaters around that time. And the fatigue, they just released The Last Jedi 4 or 5 months before.
Yeah, I think timing was their worst decision that they made. That, and you speak to somebody who doesn't know anything about Star Wars, right? Who's, you know, or maybe he's just like, you know, the casual here and there. And he's like, I'm just talking about people I've spoke to in general, and they're just like, oh, he doesn't look like Han Solo. That's not Han Solo. You know, they just, that's all they needed to see was that the dude didn't look like him. So like, I'm not watching that movie.
Yeah, that might be another factor. Like, some people that are really heavily invested in Harrison Ford can't really see anybody else playing the role. Like, you have to know that if you do want to see these characters you love live on, evolve, you know, well past like the actors that played them, you're gonna just have to accept that, you know, there'll be multiple actors playing the same role, if you want these characters to live. Like, you know, like,
I think for me, it's just like, I'm past that I don't have any expectations anymore of like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best movie I ever saw. Yeah. It's more so as just like, I just want to watch anything I can that's related to this, that, you know, this world that I wish I was in, you know what I mean? So same thing when it comes to like the mythic lore or the Lord of the Rings. I'll watch anything with that stuff because I love that shit, you know? So when it comes to Star Wars, that we're getting the Mandalorian, we're getting, you know, the Clone Wars, we're getting these movies and potentially more, I'll watch it all. I'll eat it up like candy because I want to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
And all of it doesn't have to be fucking groundbreaking for me. Like, you know, it's just entertainment, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when it's all said and done, I'm the one thing I'm excited about is Last Jedi gave us a different character arc for some, like obviously Luke and things like that, and that's not one of the things I was mad about the Last Jedi. I just didn't like the movie, like not in principle, but I just didn't like the way it was told. But I don't really have a problem with where they took Star Wars in it. So I'm just really interested to see. I mean, because all we've known growing up is, you know, Sith and Jedi, and a scoundrel here in the middle every once in a while and stuff like that. So I just doesn't have that now. So I'm kind of curious to see where it's going to go.
With the Mandalorian you're talking about?
Well, with that, yeah, I mean, that would be a decent segue for sure.
So what gets me about the Mandalorian, right? So, I mean, again, I'm going into like, the lore a little too much, but it takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Boba Fett's not dead, supposedly, right?
No, that's not Boba Fett.
That's not Boba.
No, I know this, but he escaped the Sarlacc pit, right?
It's like
apparently, yeah.
He didn't die, so he might be in this universe somewhere down the line. It might be like, who's this fucking bounty hunter fucking looking like me? You know what I mean? Like,
but why? But wait, I don't know. But why Boba Fett anywhere in this? You know what I mean? Because it is such a big universe. What are the chances?
Yeah, that's true.
It takes place in the Outer Rim territories.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
that's
he's
why
a bounty hunter and he fucking is a Mandalorian. I mean, I don't know. How many Mandalorian armored fucking bounty hunters grabbing the Outer Rim?
Is he a Mandalorian? Is he really a Mandalorian, or did he just like have the armor?
Boba Fett wasn't really a Mandalorian either.
That's what I'm saying. I can dress like a ninja, but doesn't mean that I've really been,
But if you're a ninja and I find out you're a ninja killing people, right? In my part of the fucking area, I'm gonna be like, yo, who's this ninja? I'm a ninja too. I'm gonna go find this ninja.
Yeah, whoever's gonna be the better ninja is gonna get the job, right?
But you're right. Like Boba, I mean, he didn't grow up there, So I mean, he's a fish out of water. All he's got is
I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
From that trailer, it looks good. So Gary, let me get this right. So you don't want any connection to the old shit. You want brand new.
I like when there's new concepts that build on, in the universe to see something different. I think that's what I would say. And I feel like it's okay to have a little wink or a little nod to something, but it doesn't all have to be so connected to me to enjoy it. I think like all those Clone Wars, like I'm excited that that's coming back again, because all those individual little mini stories that were taking place with the different squads, right, and the different commanders, and the stories without the freaking Jedi people in them were, I thought, far more interesting than the ones like, oh, here's a bunch of clones and there's Mace Windu, right? And now here's a bunch of other clones and there's this other person and it's the same cookie cutter thing. No, the stories were far better when you learned about, the individual people, and it's just different, but it was still in that universe, which was cool. I get it. I like that part of it, but it was something new.
I get the new part of it because I want new too, Gary. But what's going to grab the attention of people is when an episode ends of Mandalorian or whatever, right? And you get one of those nods to something that you recognize. You get a nod to something related to a Sith or maybe a Hutt. Maybe something like that. And you're like, oh shit, like that's how the episode ends, and you're wanting the next episode because that.
Like there was Ezra Bridger. He was in the fucking episode. What the fuck?
Yeah,
that's cool. The thing is that people love for it. It's true. Like they love those little Easter eggs. They want to know like how it fits into like kind of like the overall narrative. Like I get that, because then when you are invested, like you said, this is a universe. Like what I'm saying. So there could be a million different things happening. So I'm definitely interested in getting kind of like new stories with new characters in another part of the galaxy that has nothing to do with the Skywalker stuff that's going on, which is kind of one of the things I liked about Solo, because even though Solo, it was Han, we eventually saw Chewie and Lando and the Falcon and whatnot, but you saw kind of like a little bit of a different side to the Star Wars universe, like a little bit of the kind of like the normal day-to-day, like instead of this big galaxy spanning different planets, like like it just seemed like it was a little bit more of a smaller self-contained story.
I think what you're talking about, Rogue One did perfectly.
Yes,
you had your nods to Rebels, you had your nods to A New Hope, but it was a completely separate story. With its own characters. You saw their world, their view on the world that they're in.
Like
I feel like we're gonna get that with the Mandalorian. Like,
in this Mandalore, there might be just like hints of, First Order stuff. I expect. Probably get a little taste. little taste of it.
It is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, which if no one's familiar with Dave Filoni, he is fully responsible for the Clone Wars.
He's so money he doesn't even know it.
The guy is a fucking genius.
Yeah, I was watching video. He's head of the Disney animated story department or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
but
he earned it.
Them at the helm,
yep.
Mandalorian. So I have full confidence in this that it is going to make me super happy fan.
And Gary, I told you I saw the director of Ragnarok was also involved. He got consulted, so I'm sure he'll be happy about that.
I liked Ragnarok.
Yeah, I know you did. That's why I said
it. What's the budget talk for the series? Does anybody know that stuff?
I watched a big long panel today, and they did not talk anything budget.
I'm interested in them taking it back a little bit, not making everything so grand. You know what I mean? Like just scaling it back a little bit, like they said in the trailer, like a little more realistic.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting to see.
Oh, you mean in practical effects and stuff?
Practical, exactly. Yeah. Like bring it back to the original shit. Not all that digital fucking shit that's out there now.
What if you say they did it on like a Game of Thrones type of budget or something like that?
If it gets there, that'd be great. But
you're getting almost like movie. That's almost like movie.
Yeah, that's
value production like that you're getting from like a show like Game of Thrones. Like, listen, like I don't mind the show having the higher production values because then it'll just look better. Like you don't want a cheap looking TV show. And from what they showed there, it doesn't look like it.
No,
it looks like you are gonna get something high quality. Is this going to be the first time they're doing like a live action Star Wars series? See, so there's no precedent really, like besides the animation.
Well,
this is going to.
There was that. Don't forget the holiday special.
I was just going to say that.
But that was
family and shit.
And the Ewoks movies. Don't forget about Dave's favorite Ewok movies.
Yeah, but they weren't like a
what about like
movies?
Yeah, you guys have all seen Umbrella Academy, right? I mean, that was done relatively well, I think, for a TV show.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also for being a network television show. I mean, I haven't really watched the past season 2, but I remember season 1, and from what I saw, season 2 production values were very high on the show. It didn't look like the typical, network television show where you see a lot of the reused sets and whatnot. Like this Star Wars show looks like it might avoid that pitfall. Bless you, Dave. But we'll see. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because
all the ships and stuff. I mean, if you watch even just in the trailer, they talk about it. Like, they're making the models of the ships, and that's what they're using. On the panel they were showing the flybys with the models, and it's just them with this model on a podium, black background, and they're running past it with the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's awesome because they could make shit like that with just added special effects, and they could make that shit look pretty incredible. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like despite the special effects, the visual effects that we are getting in these new films, I do feel like they do look a lot more practical than the prequels look.
Right.
Guys like agree with anything practical about the prequels. All green.
It's all CG, right? It's all green screen shit, right?
Green screen.
Yeah, you could tell the difference. Like I did feel like when watching The Force Awakens, it did feel like it had that grittier, more solid feel to it. You could tell when something's digital.
You can definitely tell.
So I did feel like these episode 7 and 8 definitely kind of like avoided what the prequels were doing as far as that look. If this show does something similar, awesome. Like JD, you said they're using real models and stuff. So if they're doing that and then just gonna add in effects afterwards, I think that's something that could probably look pretty good. It's just gonna be exciting to see. I assume with the show, with Star Wars, it has the branding on it. It's going to be on that streaming service. I doubt it's going to be the production value is going to be anything less than top notch. I don't know if that attests to the quality of the show, if it's going to be good. But I think the production values will be super high. So That's good stuff. The Clone Wars trailer also. I never kept up with the animated series. Brian, like, did the rest of you guys watch that show? I know Brian did.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So are you happy about that, like, continuing? Because from my understanding, right, like, was that they did Clone Wars and then Rebels was like the kind of like the continuation, right?
You're wrong.
No, not yeah.
So Clone Wars ran for 5 seasons. Disney bought the franchise, canceled the series like halfway through the 5th season.
Yeah, wasn't the last season like on Netflix only, I think, or something like that?
There's a handful of episodes.
Yeah.
There's like it was like I don't even remember how many episodes it is, but it's the Lost missions or whatever, and it was something.
That was fan made, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Dave Filoni that did that stuff.
Yeah, but I remember seeing something with an ongoing series, and it was like the animation was crappy as fuck. What was that?
Are you thinking of those little micro ones that were like 2 or 3 minutes on Comedy Central? Not Comedy Central.
No.
Cartoon Network. That's the
Cartoon Network.
That was the first Clone Wars thing.
Dude, those things are wild as
Those
shit.
things are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Samurai Jack
the Matrix guys.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the Samurai Jack animation stuff.
Yeah.
It was. I'm pretty sure I saw fan made episodes of what should have happened after. They ended it.
You're on a different page then. No.
Yeah. Sorry.
The Lost missions was all. It was basically about Yoda.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
Dave, I guess Filoni had kind of begged, like, look, let me at least like try to kind of wrap this up. So they let him make a few episodes to kind of put it to bed, but not really putting it to bed. So then they came back, whatever, last year or whatever, and said, hey, you want to finish this? You're going to get the band back together, and we'll give you a true sixth season, and well, bam.
That's all right. So that's awesome. So they never really got to finish Clone Wars like the way they wanted. It was kind of like a rush ending. That's what you're saying. So now they're kind of given now a proper send off for this series.
Yeah.
I think I was listening back. I think it was Bobby maybe mentioned it. He said, like those Clone Wars shows, they were not making money. They were just fucking. They threw the budget out the window, and George is just making them the way he wanted them to be, and that's why they were so awesome. So that's probably why Disney bought it. They're like, "Whoa, what? You're sinking money into all this shit?"
All about that bottom line.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I know a lot of people were happy with that. Like, I never really watched them. I know there's a little guide out there for like essential episode viewing if you don't want to go through the 5 seasons. But and I know people seemed like happy with Rebels. But I know a lot of people were happy with that announcement. I think from like last year when they did announce initially that Clone Wars was going to be coming back. So and now we finally got the trailer for it. Do they have a release date for that when it's coming out?
Probably around the same time.
Is that also going to be on the Disney streaming service, or is that going to be like a network show?
Well, I imagine it'll be on their streaming service.
I think so. I think you're right, JD.
They're taking, if they haven't already, they're taking, Clone Wars. That's off of Netflix.
That's right. So they're going to be bringing everything in house just so it can be on exclusively on their stuff. All right, cool. Is that like, I know they still have some stuff like on Netflix, so eventually all that stuff is going to be going by the wayside.
Most likely.
No, yeah, I mean they'll probably take it down off of Netflix and put it up on their own.
On their own. All right.
So it's like their streaming service is going to be everything that they own. So like, from what I understood is like they'll still have like Disney XD, they'll still have like the Disney Channel, but like everything is lumped under this service, and you will get all these channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done this. They didn't do this sooner.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting it now, but what are you gonna do?
Well, it's funny. was a couple years back, like Disney owned ESPN, and they're getting all this flack because ESPN wasn't making any money anymore, and there's all tied up in the cable network deals and all that stuff with Comcast and Verizon and stuff. And eventually, it's just just took them a minute, right, to get their shit together and be like, oh, well, let's make a streaming service. And I think, speaking of ESPN, I heard they're going to tie this in with that as well, with that subscription. So, dude, that'll make the dads happy and the kids happy, Yeah.
I could imagine it must be a ton of work, and maybe that is another thing. Existing contracts with networks that are out there, because I mean, I could see eventually television or cable like providers, like providing television, eventually almost getting phased away within the next 5 to 10 years, and then everything will be some sort of streaming or subscription, or you'll just be watching TV straight. Like you'll just need the internet connection, and that's how you're going to be getting all your viewing, what I'm saying? But like whatever it is. So because I'm this close, like to just getting internet only and just sticking with a few streaming services, like why watch live TV? So I feel like that's eventually gonna get, I think sports is the only thing that's really keeping it up, like television in general, like hanging by a thread.
Yeah.
So Clone Wars, back to this real quick. I want to know what everybody thinks.
I was hoping for Kenobi.
So was I.
Why are you here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Give it to me now.
Can't wait. You guys seem more excited about that than fucking episode 9. What's going on?
Agreed. Absolutely.
See it on your face, Dave. What's going on?
So who's that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be Maul?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
All right.
So, there was all the talk about like his demise at the end of the Clone Wars of what we know, the whatever, the Mandalore. Oh God, what was it called? Whatever the Great War of Mandalore was.
Mm-hmm.
So his part in that was never finished. At the end of that, the Emperor, he surrenders to the Emperor. The Emperor kills Savage and says, he's like, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. He's like, I have other uses.
Yeah.
And we thought that's what we were getting in Rebels, which it wasn't. So they're going to finish it out with him. Sorry.
Interesting. I'm going to maybe try to see if I could catch up. You know what I'm saying?
And I'll just say what we're all thinking, but hopefully they actually make some good toys off of all these other things too.
Gary, I was thinking about you when I watched the trailer for The Mandalorian. So I was like, hey, look, more beasties that he can buy for people to ride.
Right?
I thought it looked
like
cool.
a new do-back. Yeah.
Right.
I thought the bounty hunter himself looked cool. I mean, yeah, the helmet very, Boba Fett-esque, Django-esque, but it looked good, looked interesting, and like I said, to me, it was the most interesting trailer that I saw kind of coming out of the weekend. So I think I'll definitely, especially like I said at the top of the show, for that $7 price tag, I think might be worth it going in for a little bit, seeing what Disney's offering.
I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about another trailer that comes out in 2 days, which is the Fast and Furious spin-off trailer.
That looks like such trash.
I thought I saw that in the movie.
You said it.
Yeah. Didn't I see that when I went to see Captain Marvel? I think I saw that one already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That looks so bad. It looks so bad. No wonder fucking the rest of the cast was probably begging The Rock not to do this spinoff before they made another Fast and Furious.
They're gonna make another one. Don't worry about that. But when the Fast and Furious franchise gets a spinoff, I mean, come on.
Yo, you know what? I want to ask you a question.
What?
So you talking all this shit about Star Wars and why they bring him back? I'm sick of the story of the fucking Skywalkers. How many times are gonna bring back these dead ass people in fucking in Fast and Furious? Fucking brought back Vin Diesel, and they brought back his girlfriend. And who they gonna bring back next? The fucking the guy, that shooting dude that fucking died.
No, it's different. Listen, every movie they have new cars. In one movie, there's a big
because they fucking
plane.
got a new sponsor for a new fucking new car vehicle or whatever.
Every Star Wars, we get new X-wing, same shit.
Then they have a submarine, right? And then
we need to go on a mission to fucking get this super secret, top fucking secret information. And we're not going to send in the Navy SEALs or the fucking Marines.
Exactly.
We're going to send in this fucking team of street racers, right?
Yeah.
And now we're going to send in The Rock and the fucking and the other dude.
The transporter.
The transporter, yeah. Exactly.
Don't be upset. Don't be upset, Dave.
Stupid. Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
Hey, I like Jason Statham.
Dude, Sunday he was in the chat and he said he's watching wrestling. And he says, are you seeing someone on TV wearing an ROC hat Sunday Heat? Is that what you're trying to say?
Word.
Dude.
SmackDown's on right now. That's dope. They're in Canada.
Oh, cool. Maybe it's Tyler G.
All right, guys. Well, awesome discussion. Let's wrap on that. We'll continue the ROC Hangout and we'll continue the discussion there. Anybody that's watching or listening with us live can join in, give us their thoughts. I thought this was pretty cool. There's always a lot more to talk about when it comes to Star Wars. The franchise itself just it leaves so many avenues of discussion open. For a 90-minute or so show, it's just not enough time. So join us with the ROC Hangout. We're going to be posting that link in the Realm of Collectors Facebook group. And with that, we'll wrap up the live portion. Let's run it down the line and get some where you at. Brian Brink, I'll start with you, brother.
You can find me, Brian Brink, in the Facebook groups at Brinkalizer on Instagram. Just want to let you know, I think my my butthole has dilated back to its normal form. I'm feeling much better. One other thing I caught about this trailer I wanted to bring up is I tend to identify with Rey because I happen to notice that once she gets a particular outfit, she just gets every color of it, and that's exactly how I buy my shirts for work. So I think that's why I identify with her. You find a shirt that fits, I'm like, all right, I'll buy one of every color, and I'm good.
Interesting. Yep. I'm kind of yeah, especially if I like the way the shirt fits. All right, Dave, you're next, brother.
You can find me here on Tuesdays, Instagram, and John Addict. I will probably not watch the new Fast and Furious trailer because the movie's trash. So fuck you, Gary.
I'll screenshot it for you. Don't worry.
And I don't want to hear about it either when you watch it. So fuck yourself. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Elba fucking superhuman fucking powers. All right. You got superpowers and fucking Fast and the Furious now.
Yeah, I know, right? The Rock just fucking slides down a fucking building, jumps off of it, survives, whatever, bro. In a car, too, spinning 15 times in the fucking air, lands on one tire, fucking pops out, yeah, whatever, dude. Find me here with these guys on Tuesdays, and talk to you guys later. All right, I'm out.
All right, G.
Gary on Facebook. Let's just say that the Fast and Furious franchise, the cars are equal characters like the actors and actresses. And, we all know that the real reason Dave's so upset with me is because he doesn't know how to drive a manual transmission. So he gets
Let me ask you a question. Oh, fuck you, Gary.
He gets jealous. He gets jealous of all the gear shifting in the movies, and he's not able to do it.
Oh, shit.
Totally turned the camera off and muted. I hate that shit.
Oh, man.
Manual.
That's funny. That's fucking funny. All right, JD.
You can find me JD Burgess on the Facebook groups, Pigment Surgery on Instagram and Xbox Live here every Tuesday, every other Wednesday on Figure Banging. Gary, you're dead to me.
Not this week.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, guys. That's for myself all over social media at HarricanBX. Check out Verbally Challenged with HarricanBX on all audio platforms here every single Tuesday night with these gentlemen. and the occasional liquid therapies that we be having on Saturday nights every now and again. Maybe this Saturday, maybe check it out. As JD said, figure banging every other Wednesday, and don't forget to check out MPSP Theater on Friday nights around 9ish. They'll be the next show on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel.
I'll talk a little bit more about this too.
Hell yeah, I'm sure they will. So check that out. Before we head out for tonight, remember, guys, there is an audio version of this podcast you subscribe to on iTunes, Google Play, anywhere you like to listen to your podcast. Leave a 5-star review when you get the chance, because it really helps the show out. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You already know this. Shouldn't even have to say it. And check out Crashbox Customs on social media, the official Mezco supplier of the Realm of Collectors. Visit crashboxcustoms.com and on social media for all your Mezco and diorama needs. If you mention the word Realm when placing an order, you'll probably get a surprise gift with your purchase. This show is a part of the Cool Table, so please pull up a chair. It's a network hub for like-minded podcasts, including Enter the Realm, Plastic Fanatics, Shattercast Uncut, Toy Detox, Nerd Rage Radio, Beer and Bolters 30K, Slack, Building Up to It, Fresh Communication, and Verbally Challenge. You can find the Cool Table on Facebook. iTunes and Google Play. We'll see you next week, guys. ROC Hangout continues next. Join us and be safe. Peace out. Later.
Yo, you gotta see all these pictures of Gary with the Fast and Furious stuff. Fucking